The next question pertains to the obstacles to business and organizational growth here in San Jose and was submitted by District 6 resident Kat. There are several businesses on the Alameda that are currently boarded up. When a coffee shop around the corner from my condo wanted to expand into a previously abandoned dry cleaning business, they started the process with the city, then realized that the cost of permits was going to put them under if they chose to expand. In light of this, like permit costs, what are the other obstacles that prevent these abandoned spaces from being put to good use? And what can a council member do to remove these obstacles? Michael?
So this is an unfortunate story that is sort of repeating itself every day. Actually, I had the exact experience yesterday with a small business in Willow Glen that was trying to open. For a year, they've been going through a process, and they had to pull the plug because their budget went from basically what they thought they could afford to almost triple what they had intended it to be. And about a third of that was because of the city fees. Now, there are a lot of headwinds that are creating challenges for our retail restaurants community. COVID was especially brutal on San Jose and especially brutal on an area like the Alameda, which I think this question is sort of pointed to. Retail is trying to figure out what it wants to be on the other side of Amazon and COVID and things. And so we as a community, we as property owners, we as interested parties who understand the kind of needs that are like the Alameda wants. Like I've heard donut shop, I've heard another coffee shop, I've heard other suggestions. Those, you can't just wish those to happen. So there needs to be a network of support. I think strengthening the business association on the Alameda is the fundamental, most important thing that can happen. And there's some really dedicated people and a consultant working on doing that right now. But it has to be done in a network with property owners, with the business owners themselves, and with residents, because those all working together are going to be the way to achieve it. Now, what can City Hall do? That's a whole other story for a whole other question.
Like permit costs, what are the other obstacles that prevent these abandoned places from being put to good use? And what can a council member do to remove these obstacles?
One of the things that as I've been walking door to door with the small businesses as well, is making sure that they have access to grant money. A lot of them don't know that they have access to grant money from the city of San Jose. And the outreach is usually in the certain parts or certain corridors. So as a council member, I'd love to extend it outside of downtown and broaden it up into District 6. And I know that District 6 is getting some love in certain areas, but maybe broadening it out and also extending it out to businesses and small businesses that are in street into, oh my gosh, COVID brain, sorry, into businesses that are in strip malls. That's what I was trying to say. Because sometimes the small businesses that are in strip malls, they don't qualify for the grant funding. And I think that if they were to get that extra funding, either for the facade, that essentially would help them out, and also encourage them to continue to develop their businesses, and encourage them to know that the city is actually wanting to support them to continue on. A lot of the small business owners especially are immigrants and people that are coming in from the city for the first time that have never even had a business and it's the first time. So maybe working with a lot of those communities that want to open up their shops for the first time and figuring out programs for them. So I would like to work with that and work with the Office of Economic, with the Office of the City of San Jose to make sure that we have programs for them available and doing the outreach with them. Thank you.
Alex?
I talked to the owner of this very business about this very issue just last week when I was in that coffee shop. And I've been working with other businesses in the area. If anyone knows, right near Cahill Park where I live, there was a great Mexican-French restaurant that was operating as a pop-up for a while. And they just lost their space. So I've been talking with them about could we get them to the Rose Garden Farmers Market? Could we get them connected to the Alameda Business Association and start talking to them about finding space on the Alameda? In fact, I've already done that with one of the vendors at our flea market called Het Se, which serves Vietnamese fusion food. They are now operating across the street from Pete's on the Alameda because I put them in touch with the Alameda Business Association, and they found space as a result. I'm going to appoint in my office a small business specialist to continue this work, to continue talking to businesses, to doing everything we can at City Hall to make the process work for them and to help make a match between businesses and property owners in our valley. I am extremely supportive, and I talk about it on my website about creating a business improvement district on the Alameda to mirror some of the other ones you see in other cities and other parts of San Jose. I think that's a fantastic way to get an infusion of support into a city. I think that would really help our business improvement districts. And I also think incentives and fees are important. I think incentives to a new property owner who's just opening up a building to say, hey, what can we do to get that space filled as quickly as possible? And I also proposed on my website, you can learn more, an empty buildings fee for property owners who leave a building empty for no good reason, for years on end. I think that has to end, and we have to have vibrant neighborhoods with businesses full. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have to change our culture right now. I grew up in Silicon Valley where there was this culture of innovation, where we ran towards the problem. We sought opportunities. Right now, coming home, what I see is we continually cater to large corporations. We're trying to attract big tech to be able to come back and be able to operate with large swaths of land. What that does is that disincentivizes the innovation in which the technology valley that we have was where we kind of built our heart from. I understand, coming from a family of small business owners, the opportunity for hand-to-mouth type months and understanding that there was feast and famine. We have to simplify our process. We are in the technological capital of the world, and our process remains convoluted. It cannot happen simultaneously, and it is expensive for business owners. I talked with a nonprofit owner today. I had a long conversation with her. One of the models for innovation, we have to work from the ground up. I spoke with this woman, and what she does is she runs a small collective where they take young entrepreneurs, members of the community who were unhoused initially, and they bring them into their system, and they train them for a year. Not only are they training them on a tangible task, they are taking them and training them how to manage a business. And then what they do is they give them small opportunities to exercise that. They are inculcating growth as they go through the system itself to create learners when they move out into the environment. That's the role of government, is to shift policy, which in turn shifts culture. What we have is the opportunity to run towards the problem. Inside of the city, I continually say a representative democracy, it means that we go to where people are at. Inside of my office, I will again pledge to have another person who works specifically with small business, to chase grants, to be the conduit for the business owners and the city council itself, to ensure that every single voice gets heard in a timely manner. Thank you.